Welcome. Today we have the 1995 Italian Grand Prix. The critics and ratings were flooding in for Salo's 6th place finish last time out in Belgium, scoring him 7 out of 10. The press had their say and spoke about how Salo is fast but very inconsistent. On to the news, and the head of Williams Racing has some words on Senna's contract situation, stating, "The current deal with Senna is coming to an end. We would like to see him continue, of course, with the best car on track, and we believe we can give that to him next year, and another championship. We will see how negotiations continue and what moves Ferrari will make in the near future. Maybe we can come to a deal." An internal board of directors meeting was held prior to the Belgian Grand Prix regarding Salo's future with STREAMLINE, and the team have revealed that the majority was in agreement that Salo should be dropped for next season. Mika Salo is yet to comment on the situation. Senna is now only a handful of points away from claiming his 5th World Championship, which will put him equal with the legendary Fangio as the most successful driver of all time. Senna just needs to outscore Hill today to ensure the championship is his. It is now time for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. Enjoy. Here we are in qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. We're riding on board with Salo, and it's late in the session. He is really struggling, only 27th fastest at the moment. STREAMLINE not getting the setup right on his car, and this is a last-ditch effort. This is Salo's fastest lap in qualifying, and he's putting it all on the line just to make it onto the starting grid. Last season here at this race, this was Salo's best performance of the season in 1994, finishing 7th. He could have scored points if it wasn't for the tyre wear and a few silly mistakes that he often makes. Last race was the Belgian Grand Prix, and he scored a brilliant 6th place finish. He still made a couple of mistakes late on in that Grand Prix as well, but held on to score a points finish, which was it meant a lot to the STREAMLINE crew, and I'm sure it meant a lot to Salo as well in his bid to improve his confidence really and improve his driving, as he's made so many mistakes throughout this season especially. It was more forgivable in 1994 as it was his debut season, but in 1995 he's already got one full season under his belt as the checker flag falls on his qualifying session. Salo right now is 8 tenths up on his previous best through the first 2 sectors, should I say, as he runs wide on the exit for Scari. He's just got the final corner, the Parabolica, to go in his bid to just try and make it onto the grid. This will be a huge shock if Mika Salo in the STREAMLINE fails to qualify for a race this season, let alone at a track like this, which has favoured STREAMLINE over the 2 years that they've competed in the sport. But across the line he goes. It's a 129.281. It's 23rd, just making it onto the starting grid. Here are the final qualifying results, and surprise, surprise, Senna claims another pole position. Michael Schumacher once again lines up alongside him on the front row of the grid. Damon Hill and David Coulthard on the following row of the grid. The McLaren's looking pretty quick, 5th and 6th, and the Ferraris at the home Grand Prix 7th and 8th. It's line astern for most teams as Jordan line up 9th and 10th. 11th place for Frentzen, his teammate Mahendra in 12th. Frentzen really qualifies ahead of his teammate Mahendra, but this is one of those exceptions where he does so. Olivier Panis 13th with his teammate in 15th. The Tyrrells of Verstappen and Katayama 14th and 16th. The two Footwork 17th and 18th place. Zomba Reith only managing 19th. He qualified 10th last time out at Spa. Mark Blundell rounding out the top 20. And Alessandro Zanardi's teammate in 21st. Only one Minardi making it onto the grid. Giancarlo Fisichella in 22nd. Salo in 23rd place. Sospiri and Rosset both 40s qualifying for their home Grand Prix. A brilliant result there in qualifying for their new team this season. Ratzenberger sandwiched between them in 25th place. That means Jean-Marc Gounon misses out. Both LaRousse cars miss out once again, and Pierluigi Martini, a mechanical issue, meant that he did not get a run in qualifying. So here we are at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. It's spelt incorrectly on that graphic. We're here in Italy at the 5.8 km circuit featuring 53 laps, and the weather is wet. This could be a crazy race. The main overtaking zones, turn 6, turn 11 and turn 14. The difficulty of the circuit overall is low, with mainly straights followed by chicanes. The overtaking is high and the speed is incredibly high. That's why it's called the Temple of Speed. The STREAMLINE engineering driver strategies are split. Salo realising that the time loss in the pits is greater here because the main straight is a flat out straight, of course. He's opted for a one-stop strategy, pitting on lap 27. He's starting down in 23rd place, and with the mixture of rain and possibly getting lighter and then drying out towards the end of the race, these strategies could definitely change. Zombarith going for a 2-stop, but once again, like I said, the wet weather could cause some changes to these strategies. Well, there's only one more thing to do, and that's go racing. The 1995 Italian Grand Prix is next. There's 3 lights, 4 lights and 5. The 1995 Italian Grand Prix is underway, and the Streamline engineering car of Salo gets a very bogged down start. He gets rear-ended by one of the other drivers, which sends him off course. So he's already down to 26th and last place. There's a mixture of intermediate and wet tyre runners on this circuit, as we do predict the rain, which has already stopped. The rain on the surface is going to dry out. So the split strategies for many drivers is going to create a very interesting dynamic through this race, as Mika Salo dives up the inside of a few drivers through the first couple of chicanes. He's already back up to 22nd place, ahead of Zanardi and behind Fisichella. 2 Italian drivers he's sandwiched between at the Italian Grand Prix. Into the following chicane, it's a left-right up the inside of a couple of drivers, including his teammate Zombarith. So into the top 20 goes Salo, but Reith holds onto the position by slightly cutting across the chicane as we head towards the first Lesmo on this opening lap. Up the inside goes Salo again. All the drivers being very cautious as to not spin and crash and whatnot. As we know in the past, Salo is not too good in these conditions, as he almost runs off the circuit. The second Lesmo loses a position, loses a couple of positions to Reith and Fisichella. He's down back to 22nd place, and he's got Alessandro Zanardi all over him as they hurdle down towards Ascari on this opening lap of the Grand Prix. And Zanardi looking to the inside, he's outbroke himself. He's run straight into the back of Salo and knocked him clean out of the race on the opening lap. Disaster for Streamline, disaster for Salo at what would have been an incredible race for him. He was really good here last year, and he's now out on the opening lap. Here is the replay on board Zanardi. I think he just broke a bit too late and ran straight into the back of Salo, sent Salo into the wall and knocked Salo's rear right tyre off, and then lost his front wing into the wall at Ascari. Lights out, and we're underway for the Italian Grand Prix. Senna getting a solid start. Schumacher and Coulthard going side by side on the run down to turn 1. Damon Hill trying to get involved on the inside of David Coulthard as Michael Schumacher tries to vie for that first position with Senna, but Senna has the lead off the start. Ratzenberger was involved in an incident on lap 1 with one of the 40s. Going down into the second chicane, running into the back of one of the 40s, running back into the back of both the 40s, knocking his front wing off and causing heavy suspension damage. He retired at the end of the lap. On to lap 10, Senna still leads, Hill second, Coulthard and Schumacher. So Coulthard's managed to get ahead of Schumacher early on. Hakkinen and Martin Brundle, the 2 McLarens in 5th and 6th. Gerhard Berg and John Alesi, the 2 Ferraris at the home Grand Prix right now, outside of the points. It's such a disappointing start to the race for Streamline. What's happened with their lead driver, or first driver, should I say, Mika Salo, being wiped out there by the Lotus of Zanardi. Devastating to what could have been a great race for Salo. Senna, who was on wet tyres for the start of this Grand Prix, comes in for intermediate tyres. So some of the drivers were actually on the intermediates from the start, and they'll probably benefit by taking the position. And that position is going to go to Damon Hill, who's already lapping a 40 there, and it's Damon Hill in first place. Now David Coulthard in second place. Michael Schumacher has already been into the pits, and Ayrton Senna is going to rejoin, I think, behind a load of drivers, behind Hakkinen, behind Brundle. He's down in 6th place. A lap later, Hill and Coulthard into the pits, and Michael Schumacher. And usually it's never a good idea for teams to actually queue in the pits, and Martin Brundle for the time being is going to take the race lead. It looks bare bone dry, should I say, down the main straight. There is still spray through some of the corners, but down the main straight it looks dry. Well, at least it is for the McLaren. For second place Senna, Martin Brundle finally pits on lap 16, and Senna's in with him. So this might be the change over to soft tyres, or dry tyres should I say, but there's still so much spray on the circuit. As Damon Hill is going to take the race lead, I believe second place is going to belong to the benefit of David Coulthard, and third place seems to be Mika Hakkinen in the McLaren. Zombarith will have to be the saving grace for Streamline today, but he's slowing down on the main straight as Reith got a problem. He's pulling over to stop. Oh, Reith is out of the race on lap 23. It seems to be possibly suspension failure. That's both Streamlines out of the Italian Grand Prix. race leader Hill in the pits on lap 29, and David Coulthard, the Benetton driver, is going to take the race lead. We're over half race distance as well as Hakkinen is into the pits. Damon Hill's going to rejoin the circuit. Is it going to be a second place rejoin for Damon Hill? He's back onto the circuit, and I think he is in second place. There he is. And with Coulthard into the pits on the following lap, Damon Hill retakes the race lead. There's about 23 laps to go of the Italian Grand Prix. So halfway through lap 30, Hill, we saw, just took the lead. And two Ferraris right now. Alesi down in 13th, Berger down in 18th. I've absolutely no idea what's happened to Ferrari's pace during this Grand Prix, but they are really, really struggling. No chance that they're going to score points at this point in the race. We've seen a couple of times, we've seen both Streamline engineering cars out. We favoured them before this race to actually possibly score some points because they went really strongly at this Grand Prix last year, especially Mika Salo, but those chances were wiped away within a few minutes. Coulthard has rejoined in 4th place behind Ayrton Senna, but he's got such great pace at the moment. And on lap 35 goes up the inside of Senna through Parabolica. They're side by side. Senna forced slightly wide, and David Coulthard, the Benetton driver, moves up into a podium place. Lap 41 and Coulthard is on the move again, this time moving past his teammate Michael Schumacher. So Schumacher relegated to 3rd, the Benetton of Coulthard up to 2nd. And although Coulthard did his best to try and close the gap, it's going to be Damon Hill to come across the line to win the 1995 Italian Grand Prix, his 2nd victory of the season, and keep his very slim title hopes alive. Here we are then, here's the results for the Italian Grand Prix. Damon Hill wins in the end. David Coulthard had a fantastic drive through the field. Down in 4th place he overtook Senna and his teammate Schumacher to finish in 2nd. Schumacher rounding out the podium. Ayrton Senna down in 4th place. Mika Hakkinen and Martin Brundle, the two McLarens, they had a double DNF last time at Spa. They both finished in the points today. Rubens Barrichello in 7th, followed by Sauber, followed by his teammate Eddie Irvine in 9th, and another Sauber rounding out the top 10 in the form of Kaya Mahendra. The best Ferrari can manage at the home Grand Prix is 11th for John Alesi. Ralf Schumacher there in 12th place. A load of finishes today. The second Ferrari of Gerhard Berger down in 16th place. Only 3 retirements, sadly, 2 of them being Streamline engineering vehicles. Damon Hill on his route to victory claimed the fastest lap of the race as well. Because of this win for Hill, he is mathematically still within the championship lead. There's 4 races to go, so 40 points on offer, and the gap at the top is 33 points, so it's still a possibility, but Senna just needs to score 7 more points. Well, Hill basically needs to win every remaining race there is. 4 races to go, so 64 points still on offer for the teams, and that means Benetton still have a chance. McLaren can no longer win the Constructors' Championship. Mathematically, they are out of it now. But Benetton and Williams still, they both have a chance of winning. Williams most likely are going to win the championship. A look at the team update. The morale for both drivers not looking too strong. Reith is really struggling now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's in contact with his superiors at Ferrari trying to get him a move to another team for next season. I would not be surprised at all. But the team finances looking pretty good. We've exceeded 300,000 currency, so that's pretty good. The next race is the Portuguese Grand Prix, a fantastic circuit. Hopefully Streamline as a team can bounce back there with a better result. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and follow all the social medias, the Twitter, the Discord, the Twitch, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.